Hello everyone. Back again with film recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the horror thriller films from 2012, titled No One Leaves. Before we get to the storyline, I'd like to wish everyone a happy and great day. Without further ado, let's get straight to the storyline. The movie begins in the dark, deep forest, where a young woman is screaming and running barefoot for her life. The woman is an heiress named Emma Ward, who tries all her best to flee, but ends up stepping on the sharp pieces of glass. Despite the acute pain, she bravely removes the shard and resumes her run. But as soon as she approaches the road, she gets caught in a trap and suspended up in the air. Screaming for help, she uses the shard and writes Emma alive onto the bark of a nearby tree. And what happens next is unknown. The scene shifts to a couple driving down a road, Betty, and an unidentified man referred to as driver, traveling across the country. Betty is upset because they have to move town, and she blames the man sitting next to her for it, who is apparently trying to cheer her up. Before the night prevails, the couple decides to stay somewhere to rest. Reaching a nearby hotel, driver meets the receptionist, and hands over his credit card for payment. However, the identity of driver remains unknown, and the receptionist says his name is unusual. Later, while watching television in their room, the couple watches the news about the missing girl we saw in the earlier scene, Emma. The report mentions that the detectives have made it to the tree that Emma marked, and the engravings seem to be about 6 months old. Here we can also see that Betty has a scar on her stomach, for which her partner apologizes to her. Meanwhile, on the other side of the story, a gang of robbers led by Hogue are robbing a house. Among the robbers are Hogue's brother, Ethan, his girlfriend Tamara, Denny, and Flynn, who is pretty much useless, but is still in the group because he is Hogue's daughter's boyfriend. While they are robbing the house, its occupants unexpectedly come back. The wealthy family returns to their large mansion, but soon their excitement quickly turns into horror as they see the group of robbers. Realizing that they are in danger, the father of that family begins to dial frantically, but before he can call the police, Flynn begins shooting at them and murders the entire family. Hogue becomes mad at the senseless slaughter, and yells at him for killing them. The sound of the gunshots must have alerted the police, and now, they all have to leave. Back to Betty and her partner, who asks her about dinner while she is in bed. Betty is annoyed and remarks that driver should maybe ask his other girlfriend about it, whatever that means. The couple then goes out for dinner at a nice restaurant opposite a gas station. Inside the restaurant, they are served by Hogue's daughter, Amber, who works there, and soon after Hogue and his gang, hungry for a bite, come into the same restaurant. Watching Betty sitting with her boyfriend, Flynn, being the most useless gang member, decides to make his move, and instantly saunters to their table. The couple first ignores him, but then warns him to get lost. Flynn's ego couldn't handle the rejection, and he began harassing Betty. The physical fight between them almost begins, but before driver can make any move, Hogue and his crew arrive, forcing Flynn to leave. Hogue apologizes to the couple, and reminds Flynn not to shit where he eats. However, the nightmare is not over for the couple, because when they make their way home, Flynn the useless smashes the driver's window and causes a car crash. Thinking that the couple is wealthy and are carrying very valuable items, Flynn steals their vehicle and drives it back home. He believes that they can get driver's bank code and other stuff, and tries to involve Hogue and his brother Ethan in his wicked plans. But Hogue gets mad, and warns him that one more wrong move will lead him to his end. As driver and Betty gradually open their eyes, they find themselves trapped in a gas station with their hands tied to a chair. Soon, Ethan arrives there, and threatens to kill Betty by placing a dagger against her neck. But then, it seems like Betty has had enough of living with driver. She tells him she'll see him in the afterlife, and presses her neck against the blade of the dagger. Watching this, driver gets mad, breaks out his handcuffs, and attacks Ethan. But by the time he's done, Betty is already dead. On the other hand, Flynn begins searching the driver's car, where he finds his wallet, and few uninteresting papers. Soon when he opens the trunk, he notices 2 holes in the wall, and eyes staring at him from behind them. He is startled when he discovers a girl in the car's trunk hidden behind a wall. Flynn and Tamara are struggling to bring her into the house, while the others are watching from inside the house. As the girl is being brought into the house by the two, Hogue and the rest make their way downstairs when they hear the commotion. At this point, the girl starts yelling at the people around her, and telling them to run away as far as they can. She mentions that the owner of the car she's stuck in is dangerous, which is a hint that driver is a brutal person. She then warns them, saying driver must be on his way to murder them all in cold blood. Amber then shows up, saying that they were unable to reach Ethan, and the girl is sure that Ethan is already dead by this point. Following Hoag's orders, Denny and Tamara head to the gas station to check on Ethan. As Denny and Tamara arrives there, they are not prepared for the sight that awaits them. And as was to be expected, they become horrified to see Ethan's bloodied and lifeless body lying on the ground. They also find Betty's dead bodies there, while the driver is nowhere in sight. The two then load Ethan's dead body into the van, and take it back to their hideout. Inside the house, Amber gives the girl her clothes to change into, where we see scars on the girl's body similar to the ones we saw on Betty earlier, which tells us that Betty was the driver's new victim. Amber suddenly realizes she has seen the girl somewhere on TV before. And here it is revealed that the girl is Emma Ward, the girl we saw at the beginning of the film. She is a wealthy heiress who disappeared after 14 of her friends were murdered at a party, and driver is the one responsible for the massacre. However, the most important news is Ward family is offering a $2 million reward for any information leading to the recovery of their daughter. Soon Denny and Tamara arrive with gloomy expressions on their face, and break the dreadful news about the dead Ethan. Watching his brother dead, Hoag gets mad and decides to find driver at any cost. After Flynn and Denny move Ethan's dead body to a shed, the dead body suddenly awakes, but much of a surprise to us when driver unexpectedly appears from inside his body. Meanwhile, Emma attacks the gang members and tries to run away, but is stopped by Hoag. At the same time, Emma notices the driver standing right outside, covered in blood. She then tells Hoag that she will now wait until the driver kills all of them. After washing his body, driver walks to his truck, where he changes his clothes, and gets ready with his multiple weapons. When Hoag and his crew step outside to find driver, a steel arrow suddenly hits Hoag and pierces through his chest. Danny also gets shot by the traps, which driver has installed before. Flynn and Tamara begin to shoot randomly as driver has laid several traps, but soon, they are forced to retreat. Denny begins to panic as he is losing a lot of blood, and their leader has already gone. An argument builds up between Tamara and Flynn, because Denny needs to be taken to a hospital immediately. Just then, the driver blows up their van, leaving them with no other option but to fight. Driver emerges victorious after finally capturing Hoag, but his thirst for vengeance was far from sated. With a cold, calculating gleam in his eye, he put Hoag through a cruel torture, thrusting him into the merciless jaws of a meat grinder. Hoag helplessly writhes in agony, while the driver tells Hoag that he is not a serial killer, but a psychopath, who likes to kill in groups. After that, with a final horrible push, driver puts Hoag into the grinding machine, eventually reducing his flesh and bones to pieces, and putting an end to his torment forever. Back at the house, Amber asks Emma why she is the only one still alive, to which Emma replies that the driver might have fallen in love with her. The flashback shows driver locking himself in a room with her, where she would live until he was alive, because he was the only one who could free her. After telling Emma this, he taught her how to save his life before slicing an artery in his own neck. It is then revealed that Emma was the one who saved his life. With the van is blown up, and Hoag is dead, a fight breaks out between Amber and Tamara. But before the fight could get worse, someone knocks on the door, forcing the group to check out the situation. However, when they peek out of the door, they find a bag hanging outside. Flynn tries to look closer at it, and Hoag's ring appears to be hanging with the bag. Watching this, Flynn gets mad, and when he kicks the bag, Hoag's pieces of flesh fall to the ground, eventually horrifying everyone with this scene. Afterwards, Danny and Amber plan to escape using a broken Jeep from their garage. They manage to safely enter the garage, but when they try to start the engine, the Jeep does not work properly, forcing Denny to step out and fix it. However, as Denny finishes fixing the car, driver appears out of nowhere, and launches a vicious attack on Denny. Seeing this, Amber gets frightened and runs away into the woods. The psychopath begins to chase her, and then stabs her with a large knife. Hearing Amber's screams, Flynn and Tamara couldn't help her, but they instead decide to escape this hell. After watching Denny died at the garage, Tamara begins to cry, and they decide to bring him together as they realize that Denny is barely alive. Later, while driving the Jeep, Flynn suddenly bumps into Amber, who appears out of nowhere, and is hit dead. Afterward, they drop Denny at the hospital's front gate, and then continue to run from Driver. The group then decides to rest for the night, and reaches at Highway Motel, from where the whole story began. As Flynn pulled out Driver's credit card to pay for the room, the receptionist becomes suspicious. He calls the sheriff, alerting them to the strange and potentially illegal activity happening before his very eyes. Later, while Tamara was taking a shower, Flynn begins to harass Emma, but being a quick thinker, Emma excuses him and heads toward the bathroom. She is scared as Flynn won't let her go alive, but just as hope seems lost, Tamara steps in, offering Emma her own gun and a fighting chance. Flynn is taking Emma out when the sheriff finally arrives at the motel, asking Flynn to verify his identification. Flynn, without any second thought, kills the sheriff with one strike. Meanwhile, Driver suddenly appears in the bathroom, and instantly kills Tamara. After learning about her death in the bathroom, Emma escapes, while Flynn chases her back, right when Driver's car slams into him, sending him flying. Watching the Driver, Emma begins to shoot him, but before she can kill him, she realizes she's out of bullets. Emma's heart pounded as she is left with no other option but to run for her life. But soon, Driver came charging after her. The psychopath begs her to accept him, but Emma's survival instinct kicks in, and she attacks him with a metal pipe. Flynn suddenly shows up with a shotgun and shoots at them, but the Driver pushes her away and takes the bullet. The Driver survives due to his Kevlar vest, leading to a fight between the two. The two men engage in a brutal hand-to-hand combat, each determined to come out on top. When Flynn is about to shoot Driver, Emma suddenly knocks Flynn out and takes the shotgun. She claims that she must be the only one who will kill Driver. Emma's heart races as she aims the shotgun at Driver. But despite her desperate attempt, she is unable to kill him as she forgets to push the new shell into the shotgun. Impressed by her courage, the Driver comes near Emma, and tells her that she is free now. He then takes out a knife and cuts through Emma's stomach to take out a tracker that had been used to track Emma throughout the film. Emma is helplessly lying on the road when Driver picks the gun again, and mercilessly eliminates Flynn. Unfortunately, the receptionist has seen everything, so the Driver has no choice but to kill him as well. The following day, Driver leaves for his final destination, which is the hospital, where Danny is being treated, and he whispers,
"No one lives."
The Driver proceeds to murder the last person of Hoag's crew in his hospital bed with a clipboard. At the same time, a news reporter reports that Emma was kidnapped by Hoag's gang this whole time. Driver notices Emma being wheeled into the hospital on a stretcher. Before leaving, the Driver approaches Emma and touches her hands, and this is where the movie ends. Okay guys, that's all the recap of No One Leaves 2012. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video.